the Lord of the universe, and his power and his glory, what did he do at Christmas? He strips himself of it and makes himself nothing. He says, Jesus is going to come. He's going to enter your mess and live alongside you. He's going to be tempted in every way you are. He's going to be suffer in ways that you can't even understand. But he's going to be without sin. And he's not going to judge you. He's going to be sympathetic. Christ didn't demand his rights as God when he visited earth. So think about it in a practical way. That means this week, anytime you go to a restaurant or you go to a ticket counter and you hear someone say, I demand my rights, I want my rights. They're being demanding, not understanding. And one of the greatest tests of your character as a Christ follower is how you treat people who serve you. The waiters, the waitresses, the flight attendants, right? The guy who delivers your mail, secretaries, people who work with you, the person who makes your coffee. Do you know their names? You know their names? The presence of Jesus Christ in your life means you actually humble yourself. You put yourself beneath them, and you treat others with respect, even when they're beneath you, because that's what Jesus Christ did. I came to be a servant, not to lord it over people. This week, I want you to carry this sandpaper in your pocket as a reminder to be sympathetic, not demanding. When you go out to lunch or dinner or you go to the store, realize your server or your clerk may be under extra stress at this time of year. Maybe they're working overtime to make ends meet, or stuff has happened in their life that's made them demanding or difficult. See, when someone rubs you the wrong way, you've got to take time to know their 3 B's, the letter B, what Rick Warren calls their background, their battles, and their burdens. Before you get sharp or short with someone, you need to say, do I know their background? Do I know the story that they're coming from? Do I know the battles that they're going through right now at this time of year? Do I know the burdens that they're carrying? If so, it's going to make you a lot more patient, more understanding, less demanding. See, maybe they were raised in a family where they had no model of grace and kindness. Maybe they grew up in a dysfunctional home, and you know what? They ought to be applauded just for even getting this far. Perspective is critical. One writer tells a story of getting on a train in London on Christmas, completely crowded, the holiday crush, and there were these 3 boys, young boys, running up and down the aisle, totally out of control, bumping into seats, knocking over passengers, and everyone was getting annoyed. And so the writer sat in the back and he said, where are their parents? Where's the father? Where's the mother controlling the kids? And the train takes off, and again, it's crowded, and they're still going crazy, climbing over seats. They actually start wrestling and knock over the beverage cart. And he said, that's it. Where is the, and someone said, I think that's the father up front. And there's the father with his head on his hand, just looking out into the window, daydreaming. And they're like, he's not even controlling the kids. And he said, that's it. He walked up there and said, sir, excuse me. He's like, huh, what? Your kids are out of control, okay? A little decency, please. The rest of us deserve a quiet, peaceful trip. You just sit here looking out the window while your boys are going crazy? And then I said, huh? Oh, I'm sorry. We're coming home from a funeral. We just buried their mother. And I'm having a hard time thinking about what life is going to be like without her. And he just kind of slinked back to his seat because perspective changes everything. Of course the kids were acting out. They were in shock over losing their mom. Of course the man was lost in his thoughts. He's grieving the loss of his wife. The Bible says, I want you to take time to understand somebody's story, understand their burdens. What are the problems that they're carrying? They may be sick. They may be suffering from a chronic condition, and the surgery hasn't happened yet. There are all kinds of battles and burdens that people carry. Let me tell you something about this church. In this church today, right now, there are people who are going through divorce this Christmas. There are people who have lost their jobs this year. There are people who are battling depression. Christian love is understanding, not demanding. We are the perfect church for imperfect people, like me. Love principle number 2. Now, this final group of destructive people, to me, is the hardest of all. How do you love somebody who has hurt you or caused you pain or wounded you in some way? I'm aware that some of you right now are dreading an encounter later this week with somebody you're going to see over Christmas who hurt you in the past. And what I've found as a pastor, people come to me for counseling and this and that, is that when people hurt us, we have 2 tendencies. We first remember it, we catalog it in our hard drive, and then we fantasize about revenge. How are we going to retaliate? Now, when we remember it, what that means is we put it in our database and we say, oh, I am never forgetting this one. You are on my naughty list for life, okay? You've got somebody in your life, maybe their initials are on here, and you're like, they've hurt me deeply. I could never forgive them. I'm not letting them off the hook. And you rehearse it over and over. And what we do as humans is we kind of fantasize revenge, right? We're like, oh, if I could just say this to him. Or if I could just kind of stick the fork in. when we're hurt, we want them to know how much pain it costs. So we want to cause pain back. But that's not what the Bible says, is it?